Hey guys, happy Sunday to everybody. I am here because I have had this video requested many times over a long period of time, so I figured it was time to do it. So I've got little Parker here. This video is going to be a step-by-step how to make a small silicone repair on your silicone doll. Now, bear in mind that Parker does not have any boo-boos. I looked her over, not hoping to find anything, but I wanted to, just in case, if she did have any small tears, that I could actually show you fully, straight through how to do it. But she does not have any tears, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do step-by-step all the way through, except I'm not going to apply the actual Silpoxy to where we're pretending that there's a tear. So that way, this should make it fairly easy to follow along and hopefully be able to make your own, feel confident that you could make a small repair on your own. So the first things you're going to need in order to do this is, first thing is going to be Silpoxy. This is what I'd recommend for any platinum-based silicone doll. If it is tin silicone, this will not work on it. This is a smooth-on product. So I know that Claire uses only smooth-on products. I know a lot of the artists out there now only use smooth-on because it's the most durable. It's the best on the market. I've had this tube for a really long time, and it's still good. It gets a little bit, like there's a ring around the top when I open it from where it's solidified, but it's still good. So this, I want to say, cost me somewhere around $40, but like I said, I've had it for years. So I haven't had to use it in a really long time. Once upon a time, I had a doll that literally had several constant splits, tears. It was just a doll that wasn't made well, so I got very used to having to make repairs, which is why I've become comfortable making small repairs, because I had to do a lot of them on one particular doll. So by no means am I an expert. I'm just helping collectors out there. I want you guys to be able to make a small repair, because essentially we handle our dolls a lot, and with silicone dolls, even if you don't handle them a lot, it doesn't take much sometimes, and you can, with a little finger or toe, it's easy to kind of catch a tear. There are certain spots that are just, they're likely to happen more than others. So this way, at least if you have this on hand, I always recommend to have this on hand if you have any silicone doll, and that way you can prevent a major boo-boo. You can fix it with this. So that's the Silpoxy. I have a little dish of water, some Q-tips, some tissues. I actually use, this is a Q-tip, this is a paper clip that I've unbent, that I've used in the past. You can see that it's got like old Silpoxy that's dried on the tip of it. But that's what I use. You need something with a tip that you can actually get in there. I actually use I'll use either a business card or a couple pieces of stick-it note paper to put the Silpoxy on. So first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna take a Q-tip, dip it in water, and we're gonna use, for an example, her little baby toe here. And let me see if I can zoom in so you guys can watch what I'm doing. And I'm going to try to do this so that you guys can see what it is I'm doing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to pretend like between her baby toe, her pinky toe, and the second toe in, that she has a little split, although she doesn't. We're pretending. But it's a good example because that's a spot that always can be out there. So I'm just wetting the Q-tip with water. You don't need soap. You just want clean water. Just get in there, make sure that you're cleaning. Basically, you want to remove any type of powder that's on the silicone, as well as like dirt, dust, hair, anything, and then take the other side, dry it off really well. That way you know that the silicone is clean. You want it to be clean so that it can actually adhere to the Silpoxy, so it can actually make the repair so it sticks. So if you don't clean it and there is powder there, it may not work like you want it to work. So the next thing you want to do, make sure you're prepared and ready before you actually put the Silpoxy out on it, because it cures and dries quickly and starts to harden pretty fast. I believe the initial cure time, so that it's like it solidifies is like, I want to say like 30 to 60 minutes. It's pretty quick. And then you should be good to go. This is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And that's just from not using it, which is fine. I'm just going to put a little on here. Even though I'm not going to really use it, guys, I'm still going to put it on there. And I'm going to take a Kleenex and I'm going to pull that old stuff off. So that way I can put the cap back on it and it'll not dry out. And I do keep this nice and tight, and then I put it in the Ziploc bag so that it keeps it from getting air to it, oxygen to it, so it doesn't get in the tube and dry it all out. So once you've got your Silpoxy, what you're going to do is you're going to take just a tiny, tiny amount. And I say tiny amount, I mean a tiny amount. A little goes a long way with Silpoxy. So you don't want to barely just get a little bit of it on the tip. Just enough to say you've got a little bit on the tip of that, or whatever you're using. I find that paper clips work really well. So I'm actually going to wipe this off because I'm not actually going to put it on her, but I'm going to pretend like it's got it on there to show you guys. And so what you would do, I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. You can. Okay. So what you would do is you separate the toe so that you can see the split. You want to be able to see the split, and then you're going to take whatever the little tiny amount and actually put it in right inside, only to where you can actually see the fresh silicone that's actually split. So what you're doing is you're kind of opening it up, dabbing a little bit of Silpoxy on there. So you put it on there, and then what you're going to do is set this down, and you're going to take a clean Q-tip, and you're going to look at it, let it fall back into its natural spot, and then you're going to take a Q-tip and just lightly wipe excess. So what happens is you want it to have just enough of a barrier of Silpoxy on the actual fresh split, and then let it come back and rest normally so that you can wipe off the excess, so you're not going to have any shiny spots, because Silpoxy will dry shiny. So you just want to carefully, like sometimes I'll peel it back without having to actually split where it was, so you can see the little line where it is, and just lightly take a Q-tip and clean up the area, make sure there's no excess. And it comes right off if you do it immediately. You don't want it to set. You want it to just quickly clean up the area, let it be. Once, if it looks like it's a bigger split where you need to add a little bit more, just use a little bit at a time. You want to use very little at a time so that it doesn't get goopy and get all over the silicone. You don't want to make a mess of it. You want to keep it tight, clean, and use very minimal amounts of the Silpoxy. Once you've got enough in there and you've cleaned up the area, lightly just kind of wiped it down. Sometimes you have to take a couple of, attempts, so to speak, and then let it sit. So I generally would say let it sit for about, I don't know, probably a half an hour, and then come back and take a look to see. So once it's sat for like a half an hour, it should be somewhat adhered. And the best way to tell that is that you come back and the Silpoxy that you put on your little card or on your paper or whatever you put it on, if it's not loose, and it'll actually, you can touch it and it might squish around depending on how much is in there, but it's hardened on the top. That's how you know it should have cured on the doll. That makes sense. And so I generally, about 30 minutes after, will take some powder, not baby powder, but the silicone smooth, like the matting powder, and just take a little bit of the powder. And then if it's dry and it looks like it's adhered and it looks like it's okay, because you'll be able to kind of pull it back. At least a half an hour wait though before you do that, because you don't want to reopen it. And just make sure that it looks like it's good. I take a little bit of, it's got to be pretty much dry though in order to do this. Take a little bit of the matting powder and just lightly go over the spot, so that what it does is it kind of mats the outside. If there's any of the shiny left over from the Silpoxy, it'll actually coat it. And overnight, I'll let it be. So that way it can cure 100%. I think the full curing time is 12 hours. I should look at this and tell you. Working time is 5 minutes, cure time 12 minutes. I was wrong. It's faster. So by half an hour, you're good. So I thought originally it took like fully like 12 hours overnight, so I was wrong. So this is actually nice. It works very fast, you guys. So that's why I say don't put it on. You don't want to put it on your paper until you're ready to actually apply it to the doll. So probably depending on how thick it is, like that's why this takes a little bit to fully get hardened. So you have 5 minutes basically where it's soft enough and it's wet enough where you can just easily apply it where it doesn't get clumpy. It's very smooth. It goes on very easily. It literally just coats it. Wipe off the excess. I would say wait like 30 minutes before you really mess around with it though, just to be on the safe side. That's just how I feel about it. But directions are right on it. I forgot I zoomed in. So hopefully that kind of gives you guys a bit of a guide to kind of make these repairs yourself. For larger repairs, it's going to be a little bit more tricky because, like, say there's, you know, almost a full finger off. You want to make sure things are lined up if you apply this and add it to it. And you just, the idea is you want clean, you know, make sure the area is clean. You wipe off the excess so that there's not a bunch of shiny, goopy mess on it. That's really the trick here, is that you just don't want to have it, you know, end up with a clump of shiny, you know, Silpoxy. You can make it look clean, make it look nice, and if it's done properly, you won't be able to tell that there was ever a repair made unless you're really looking for it and can see like a small line where the tear was. But, you know, the few repairs that I've made over the years on my dolls, nobody would probably have ever known, even though I disclosed that I have repaired a doll in the past. People generally, when they've gotten a doll, if I've made a repair, can't even tell. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed getting the information at least, and that, yeah, maybe you'll have, you know, a comfort level of maybe making a repair yourself if you should need to. But definitely buy the Silpoxy. I wouldn't recommend anything else. I've heard people talk about like fish tank glue, fish tank silicone glue, but that does not dry clear. So, I mean, Silpoxy is the only thing that I've ever worked with, so that's the one I trust because it's also a smooth-on brand, which is what most of our dolls are made from, so I know it works well with it. But that being said, I hope this is helpful and that you guys enjoyed the information, and Parker is glad to be the little model here. And I'm going to see if I can zoom back out. Here we go. So there she is, pretend toe fixed. So yep, there you go, guys. I hope that this was informative. Let me know if you have any questions below, and I'm happy to answer them. This is just one of those things I think that all collectors should know how to do. And I'm happy to help. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I am more than happy to assist you guys. So I hope you all are having a great Sunday, and Parker and I will see you soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.